I get that you reckon that you're some big shock jock, and I know that you're desperately trying to be relevant, but you sound so insecure and so pathetic. You are
Do you have
irrelevant.
an argument? Can you put the Duncan down for a second and give me an argument? Do you have an argument? Or is it just
Sorry, I haven't heard one from you.
Yes, I've given you multiple arguments for the social fabric of all of society and how we can improve it, what we need to be doing, what we need to be moving towards. I gave you all the stats. I gave you argument after argument. Can you give me a single argument?
All the stats. You are the oracle. You know all about the universe and what's going to progress humankind. You're just a shock jock,
It's not
mate.
psychic ability.
You're just pathetic.
That's my argument, Andrew. You're just a shock jock, mate. You're pathetic, okay? I've been here, sitting here for 24 minutes, and it's time for me to eat lunch. It's time for tea time. It's time for snookers, okay? It's time for me to get nutrients. I cannot sit here. I mean, this is ridiculous. You're just a shock jock. You're the oracle. Wonderful, whatever. That's my argument. It's not an argument. I know it isn't, but I'm hungry. I'm becoming hangry, okay?
Hello, America, FBI and CIA agents, and fellow cult members. Welcome to Culture Club USA. I'm Dubrava. In today's episode, we again skip across the pond and continue our look into the curious condition of covert feminism and the caustic carnival cosplay of the twisted, tyrannical tradcon. And in this clip, Pierce and the gang take on the "Is Megyn Kelly a feminist?" question that split right-wing media in two over the past few weeks. Is Megyn Kelly a feminist? Let me know in the comments, and I'll be sure to respond. You ready? Let's get into it.
Again, having said that, I like the guy. I'm getting a little tired of his nonstop judgment of women who make different choices than the ones he wants us to make. Sorry, Matt, you're not our Jesus. We don't answer to you. Like, live your life the way you want to live it, and stop judging everybody who makes a different choice. I'm sick of it.
Over.
Okay, for those of you who are not in the know, Matt Walsh and Megyn Kelly are in a total war. And when she says, "Matt, you're not our Jesus," I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. You're not our Jesus. That's who she's talking about. She's talking about Matt Walsh from the Daily Wire, okay? Just so you know.
Covert feminist.
And she went on to say this about young men not wanting to marry career women. Let's take a listen to this.
We're now telling young, conservative, amazing women that they're not attractive if they also work. If they choose to, let's say, do what I'm doing and what you're doing and like get their voice out there. But I'll stick with me just because I think conservatives listening to this will like the thought of another Megyn Kelly voice up and coming.
Now, Matt.
Excuse me. I have to bring this back. I'll get into what she just said in a second, but am I looking at Ana Kasparian right now? Do you see what is going on in this space? Megyn Kelly is supposed to be, conservative, okay? She's sitting with Ana Kasparian. This is what I mean when I say, and I've said it before, that the conservative space in YouTube, in media, why do they always allow these infiltrators? There's nobody on the planet Earth that can convince me, okay, that Ana Kasparian from the Young Turks, she's from the Young Turks, okay, with Cenk Uygur, is a conservative. And she's sitting on Megyn Kelly's show discussing conservative ideologies. I mean, what are we looking at? Right off the bat, Megyn, you are a covert feminist because you're allowing total feminist, liberal, left-wing women to infiltrate our space. This is nuts. I'm going to bring it back.
Work. If they choose to, let's say, do what I'm doing and what you're doing and like get their voice out there. But I'll stick with me just because I think conservatives listening to this will like the thought of another Megyn Kelly voice up and coming.
Now, Matt Walsh responded by saying men are generally not attracted to ambitious career. Well, hang on a minute. I want to read a clip from Matt Walsh, or a quote. He said, men are generally not attracted to ambitious, career-driven women, and women's first priority should be children and looking after the home. So, Emily, what do you think of that?
I think the beauty about free will is you make a choice who you want to spend your life with. Like, I know many men are okay with, a woman who works, and I know many men are not. And that's the great part is you choose who you want to partner with. So if you want a woman to be home and have 5, 6, 7, 8 children, which is a beautiful choice to make in life, then go for it. If you want a woman who can do both, work and have children when she's ready, 2 or 3 children, then go for that type of woman. If you want a woman who's never home and going to be, on the road all the time, and trust me, there are many beta men who would love that, then go for that. Like, nobody is forcing you to be with a woman that doesn't cater to your needs, the same way no one's forcing any women to be with a guy like Andrew Tate that's going to beat you and make you miserable. We have choices, and we need to make calculated, wise choices as to what personally is best for you.
Hold on. Let me just chime in here, okay? Did you hear what she just said? Okay, these are two feminists, by the way, but do you hear what she just said? Now, let's think about this for a second. Let's seriously think about this. Now, Megyn Kelly is married, okay? She's on her second marriage, and she has children. She just mentioned, catering to your man, catering to your husband. Let's talk about Megyn Kelly for a second. How is Megyn Kelly catering to her husband and family? How is that possible? How is it possible for her to have the career that she's had? I mean, we're talking national, we're talking Fox, we're talking, whatever it was that she got, I don't remember if it was CBS or whatever it was, okay? This woman has had a career. She's also a lawyer and went to college, okay? And she has a major podcast right now in the conservative space. And she has a contract with Sirius XM Satellite Radio. How are you catering to your family with all that? How is that actually possible? I just don't understand how just her life in general with children and a husband is not an example of a feminist boss chick. I don't get it. Think about what I'm saying. Think about it. I think when Matt is saying that, he's saying that men don't want women that are running off with careers and all this stuff. I do kind of agree with that in a sense. All right. But I don't think it's just about that. Matt is missing a key factor here when he talks. And we'll get into that a little bit later. But I digress. Let's let this play out.
To what personally is best for you.
The Andrew Tate fallacy. Moving over to Andrew Tate is evil and a representation of men who believe in a patriarchal system. Here's the truth. The truth of the matter is that we should be doing for society what is socially good for society. If we can't reproduce our society, that's a really bad social ill for society. When you have propaganda that is telling women to go get useless degrees in psychology and
it's not
sociology.
For society.
Okay, my uterus is for me and my husband, okay? Amy, her uterus is for her and her husband, because this girl likes to talk in third person. Hell, that's not feminist. My uterus, my body. Remember all this bodily autonomy, my body, my choice. That's a damn near pro-abortion. That's what that is. That's pro. You know what? Rhetoric. Is she nuts? I don't think these people think. They definitely don't study. If they're trying to infiltrate a space, they're definitely not good at it. Okay.
For society.
Yeah, that's great.
It's actually
hang on. There's Andrew quickly. Is Megyn Kelly a covert feminist, Sam?
Not covert, overt. She's an overt feminist. Covert's out for Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly came out and said women should be prioritizing career over family. That's what Matt Walsh's issue was with her. And he's absolutely right. The guy struck it out of the ballpark. Socially, in society, we should be moving women into a familial role. It's not to say that women can't work. Nobody's saying women can't work. We're just saying that if you're going to glorify things in society, it should be the mother in the intact home and the wife and the caretaker at home, not the girl boss. That's insane. And it's a societal death sentence. Walsh knows it. Everybody knows this at this point. If you can't reproduce your own nation, you don't have a nation.
He's right about that. If you can't produce your own nation, you don't have a nation. I agree with that. But I also will say this, and I've said it many, many times over. There are two paths. If you're going to be a woman who's going to have a career, then you really shouldn't have a family. You shouldn't have children. Maybe you can get married, maybe, depending on what the guy wants, and maybe he's not looking for kids either. But if you want to have children, you cannot have a career. I'm sorry. You cannot have, and this is the argument, okay? Let me just reel you in a bit. The argument with Matt Walsh from the Daily Wire and Megyn Kelly is that she is saying you can have it all, and that's a lie. That's a lie. You can't, because something is suffering. Your children are suffering, your career is suffering, or your husband is suffering, or all three. You see what I mean? You cannot have it all. Being a mother is the career. And if that's the path you choose, then that's amazing. If it's not for you, then you do something else. But you can't do it all. There's not a single person out here that's going to convince me of that. You just can't.
Do you know how...
Okay, Julie, you wanted to jump in there.
I mean, do you know how insecure and pathetic you sound? You can't take you seriously.
Eat another donut,
I get
lady.
That I'll just finish. I get that you reckon that you're some big shock jock, and I know that you're desperately trying...
You know what? Hold on. I'm going to bring her back because she's just lovely to hear. But I want to make a point. And I'm not making a point as her because she's deranged. But let me just say this. I want to also differentiate something here. A career and a job are two totally different things. Remember that. A career and a job are two totally different things. Do you understand that? Having a career like Megyn Kelly, that takes everything. You have to eat, sleep, and breathe it. It doesn't just happen because Roger Ailes said so. Okay? It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. You have to eat, sleep, and breathe it. It takes that 10,000 hours, it probably takes 30,000 hours. You understand? To get to the heights that Megyn's got at. That's a career. A woman who's working, that's something totally different. Just remember that. Totally different. You can't have a career and a family. You cannot have a career and a family. No. Megyn is wrong on that. You cannot have a career and a family. She says you can. Totally wrong.
I get that you reckon that you're some big shock jock, and I know that you're desperately trying to be relevant, but you sound so insecure and so pathetic. You are
Do you have
irrelevant.
an
Sounds very
argument?
insecure.
Can you put the Duncan down for a second and give me an argument? Do you have an argument? Or is it just
Sorry, I
Andrew
haven't heard
bad?
one from you.
Yes, I've given you multiple arguments for the social fabric of all of society and how we can improve it, what we need to be doing, what we need to be moving towards. I gave you all the stats. I gave you argument after argument. Can you give me a single argument?
All the stats. You are the oracle. You know all about the universe and what's going to progress humankind. You're just a shock
It's
jock,
not
mate.
psychic ability.
You're just pathetic. No,
That's my argument, Andrew. You're just a shock jock, mate. You're pathetic. Okay, I've been here, sitting here for 24 minutes, and it's time for me to eat lunch. It's time for tea time. It's time for snookers. Okay, it's time for me to get nutrients. I cannot sit here. I mean, this is ridiculous. You're just a shock jock. You're the oracle. Wonderful, whatever. That's my argument. It's not an argument. I know it isn't, but I'm hungry. I'm becoming hangry. Okay, so let's get this amok here. Let's keep it moving along. It's time to go, Pierce. This is a conservative. Again, this woman is a conservative. Is she? Is she a liberal? Is she conservative? She's a liberal. She's a conservative. See what I'm saying? We don't know anymore. We don't know who's who and what's what. Okay? Because looking at her, she seems like a liberal, but we don't know. Because looking at the other broad, okay, she looks like a conservative, and she's nothing but a covert feminist. You see what I'm saying here? Our space has been so infiltrated, and it's confusing. Nobody knows what's what and who's who. It's like everybody needs to open up their eyes and not take any of these people seriously. For real, this is danger. We are in this danger zone. Danger zone.
Nobody's going to listen to you. You're an
Wendy, are you going
aggressive,
to have an
insecure
argument?
man.
I'm going to tell you what's going to happen.
We're not taking you seriously.
Well, this is going to go viral, and a lot of people are going to take me seriously, and all they're going to remember is that I told you that you couldn't put down the Dunkin' Donuts long enough to make an argument. Now, can you make one or not?
Oh, you know, this is schoolboy
By the way,
tactics.
a real man doesn't speak down to a woman the way you do.
I don't care what you think.
You're not a real man. You're actually very feminine if you ask me. You're a very feminine man.
Yeah, nobody cares what you think real men are.
You're
sound super
pathetic,
feminine.
mate.
Yeah.
And how
Nobody cares what you think a real man is.
that you're such
I'm
a
sure your wife's
big
very happy
boy
at
by slating, bringing in
You're so
personal
mad. So
personal
mad.
insults about women's
You start. Hey,
I'm actually
appearance.
very
I'm sorry.
Wow,
I'm sorry. You guys
I
think that
feel
you're going to
for
show
you
people.
when
We
you
can't
go
say-
out.
Okay, oh my God, Mike, what is going on here? What is happening here? This is what's happening to the conservative space. Listen, first of all, boss babe, Amy over here, boss babe. You are a boss babe. You said it yourself, you're a boss babe, and you are a total feminist. You're sitting on this podcast defending a feminist that doesn't deserve to be defended. Because what Andrew is saying is, do you have an argument or not? And she doesn't. She doesn't have an argument, love. Look, mate, no. I'm going to come out with whatever I need to say, and that's it, mate, okay? She has absolutely no argument. So she then turned to insults and then tries to make it sound like Andrew insulted her first because she didn't have an argument, okay? And then here comes boss lady Amy defending the feminist. Do we realize what we're watching here? There's only one real conservative on this panel, and it's Andrew. Okay? It's Andrew, because Pierce is like a libertarian. We all know that.
Into the big wide world from behind your macho.
Well, one day when I go out in the big wide world, I hope people will take me as seriously as they do women who make zero arguments.
Wait, why are you on
Piers
like Morgan? This? Shouldn't you go be working right now, making money for your family to support? How do you have time to
I'm working.
I don't have
what are you
kids.
talking about?
I don't have a husband.
I'm
23 years old. I'm not married with kids yet, but it seems like you should go be working right now to fulfill your gender role as a big, strong man.
I am working right now.
Boss lady, Amy, what do you think he's doing? He's getting paid. It's the same thing you're doing. You're trying to get paid. We all know what you're doing, okay? You are trying to get to Fox so that you can push Laura Ingraham down the stairs, okay? That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to push her down the stairs and sit in her spot. Hi, I'm Amy. Welcome to the Amy Show. This is Fox News, and I am she. She said this, that. I mean, is this some kind of joke? You're literally watching covert feminists in action at the highest. And Pierce is loving it because his views are about to be through the roof. Just like Andrew said, this is about to go viral.
Oh,
we'll get to work.
Let me ask.
You're not being paid to be here.
Yes, lady. I'm going to get paid a lot of money ultimately to be here. You have no idea what you're talking about. If you saw my bank account, what I make doing stuff like this, it would make you weep.
Show us your bank account to make yourself feel more secure.
How does she not know this already? Okay, look, this is the problem, Amy, okay? I'm talking to you, love. I'm going to talk to you like this because maybe you'll listen better. What happens is when you have a Fox News trajectory and your dream is to be on Fox and read teleprompters, you don't have to study. Okay? There's nothing to do. So now you've shown up and you know nothing, absolutely nothing about this man here sitting here called Andrew Wilson, the Crucible. You don't know he's married and has children. You don't know how much money he makes. You don't know that he's here to promote his channel to make more money off of you. I mean, what are we talking about, girl? You don't know that he's making money right now? You're trying to make money. That's why you're sitting here. You're trying to get exposure and in then turn will get you another job, another spot, push your podcast, whatever you're trying to do, okay? Your NIL for, the hair products you're going to sell, the conservative hair products, the conservative hair made by conservatives in the USA. We all know what this is, and you're doing it. I mean, are you literally this much of an idiot? She belongs on Fox. Fox should hire her. She's perfect.
Hey, the only thing you could think of was to try to assault my bank account, lady.
Assault.
That's it. That's the only thing you can think of. The only thing you can think of is you don't work enough. You don't work enough. It's ridiculous.
Let me play. I want to play Emily a clip. This has gone viral too. It's had 120 million views. There's a woman who suggests she's about to leave her husband because he doesn't do enough domestic chores. Let's take a look.
If you do not participate in an equitable way in your home, and so what does that look like? What does it look like to change these dynamics? Well, we need to really assess in our homes what the work looks like. Because in most homes, the data supports this, women do a disproportionate amount of the work. They just do. They do more of the cooking and the cleaning and the laundry and the childcare while also working full time. And men have more time for things like their hobbies, like golf, for example, or just working out, running a marathon, right? And so we need to have hard conversations about what our time looks like, what our labor in the home looks like, what is invisible labor. We have to talk about these things. And when we don't, the alternative is that you no longer have a marriage, or you don't have a happy one at least. And so I share this story because I don't think I'm alone in this experience, and I want people to know that there's hope, and that if you have a willing and able partner, you can change this. You can absolutely change it.
Yeah, there's hope. There's hope. The hope is no more feminists for you. Stop being a feminist who chose to work. No, what is she talking about? First of all, chores, we're talking about raising children. You want men to be what you call providers, because feminists say providers, okay? Really, men want to be leaders and providers, okay? It's more than just providing. And you're complaining about your job, so you don't want to raise your own children. You don't want to clean your own house? And you have a full-time job and your husband wants to play golf. Like, do you understand how absurd this movement is and what it's done to women? Look how angry these women have become. Look at this. She's so angry. Okay, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one talking. We are here to invisible work. Like, lady, what are you talking about? I clean my house. Okay, I could easily have a maid. I've had a maid before, and I was like, no, I'm cleaning my house. I find pleasure in cleaning my stuff and doing my laundry. Okay, I don't, you made this choice. You chose to work. You chose to have a family and get married and take on all these responsibilities because you're a boss lady. You're a feminist. This is a problem with feminism. She's a perfect example of it. And she's also a perfect example of you can't have it all. Because even if she doesn't have a career, okay, remember, career and job are two different things. Megyn Kelly has a career. This woman, I'm assuming, has a job, okay? But she probably doesn't like the job. She's miserable. But she chose to work. She chose to work. And she's probably also living outside of her means. So now that's another thing. You have a husband that's working to death because you want a bigger house. You want to do a podcast. You want a granite countertop or a quartz. You want more space. You see what I'm saying? So that's partially also why you have to work, because you're living outside of your means. Get it?
You can change this. You can absolutely change this.
I mean, Emily, I would personally, I would travel continents to avoid a lady like that. But what's your view of what she's saying?
To me, her rant, take away the gender for a moment, because I actually believe women are a lot messier than men, just in terms of our makeup, our clothing, the abundance of clothing that we have. I think we definitely purchase more accessories than men. And I think we also, like I said, there are gender roles I believe in should be responsible for most of the cleaning. Then on the other hand, if you're marrying a slob, A, you should know who you're getting into a household with. But B, if you're in a happy marriage and you have a sense of communication, why not just sit your partner down and be like, hey, I don't mind cleaning up after you, but when you throw your filthy socks on the bathroom sink or you leave your wet towel and we have mold, you know, I'd appreciate if you could not do this. But I don't think it gets to an extent where like divorce is justifiable unless your husband is like a hoarding pig that's unbearable to live with. I think she's being a little bit dramatic here. And we all can acknowledge women are a bit messier than men, and it should be just like looking after one another. It's not a big deal to clean up after your partner, and that could go both ways.
Oh my God, she's such a feminist. Listen, lady, if your husband comes in, I know you don't have one, Amy, Emily, whatever your name is, Amy. Okay, I know you don't have one yet. Emily, Amy, whatever, okay? But if your husband comes in after a hard day at work and he throws his socks on the floor, pick them the heck up. Pick them up! I mean, do you realize what we're talking about here? These women are so shallow that they're literally talking about being overwhelmed by cleaning. Can you imagine? By cleaning! Do you have any clue how stressful a man's life is? Because a man has to be a leader. Real men are leaders and providers. And they're leaders and providers that extend outside of their own immediate family. They serve in wars. They fight for our freedoms. There's a lot more that goes into this than just having a job, bringing home a paycheck, and blah, 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 blah. And you're complaining about cleaning? Lady, you're delusional and you're a feminist. Times 1,000.
Not everything is so black or white.
Andrew?
Well, first of all, stay-at-home moms are mostly nowadays parking their kids in public school for most of the day. Oftentimes, the kids are taking buses from the city to the school and buses home. They're not even driving them. Okay, not even driving them. And they have fully furnished lunch, even breakfast at most of these public schools, right? They don't even have to send them with a lunch anymore. They have all day to do household chores while men are working, right? No, women do not do a disproportionate amount of work in comparison to men. That's absurd. No labor statistic supports that. Even if we were to take household chores and put it on the table against a man's work, doesn't even come close, even with children, especially because you're parking them most of the time in a public school for most of the day. This lady who's making this TikTok, totally insane, completely disconnected from reality, has no idea how this actually works.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. Okay. And also, just something to add on to that, you know, the child obesity rate in this country is disgusting. And it's due to one thing and one thing only: mothers. There's no child that is obese that it's not the fault of the mother. You're sending, like he's saying, you're sending your kids to public school and they're feeding them French fries and ketchup and hot dogs, you know, candy machines and every other thing. Okay. Because, you know, it's like, and you want to take no responsibility for that. These women today on both sides, because there's way too many feminists on the conservative side in that spectrum, even ones in the Catholic Church, you go in the church, they're in the church, they're everywhere. Feminism is everywhere. It's very difficult to sift through all these women and know who's real and who isn't. But if you look at their lifestyle, you can pretty much kind of gauge it. But I mean, what she's saying makes absolutely no sense. No sense. Andrew really, really brilliantly put that out there, especially with the school system. Because if you are allowing the government to raise your kids, and what are you doing all day while these kids are in school? Kids are in school forever, it seems. I mean, from like 8 o'clock in the morning until like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then you send them to daycare and you're off having lunches. And then, oh, I have a part-time job. I mean, really, how difficult do you think that woman talking earlier, how difficult do you think her job is? It's probably she probably works at a makeup counter at MAC, okay? Or Lancome. I mean, how difficult is this job, really? Just delusion.
She's not totally
Julie,
insane. You're going to make a choice to marry a girl who's going to cook and clean and do everything. And me as a woman, I'm going to make a choice to hire a housekeeper one day so that I don't have to cook and clean because that's my choice. The problem is you're too obsessed with other people's choices. Live and let live. Like, take a step back and recognize not everyone has to be as extreme as you are. Like, yes, women
live and let live till it comes to the transgenders.
If they're not perfect,
that's exactly what I'm saying. It's
I
crazy.
do live and let live
till it comes to the transgenders.
I don't care if you're transgender.
How are you a wife? Okay, let's take the kids out of it. How are you a wife and you don't cook and clean? Forget about the kids, all right? You know how I feel that if you everybody shouldn't have kids. We've gone through this. How are you married to a man and you don't cook and clean? Why did you get married? So let me just put it to you like this. This is super important, what I'm about to say. So a man works like a dog to become, as feminists would say, providers. I'm going to say leaders who provide, okay? So that they can work like horses to provide houses and things and this and that and make these women happy, right? For what? So that they can not cook and clean? Not even cook and clean? I mean, you have to be delusional right now. Every woman should cook and clean just because they want to. Period. I mean, what are we talking about? Somebody that has like 14, 15 kids? And needs help from their family? I mean, you're talking about a woman with like 2 kids probably. And you're complaining about cooking and cleaning? That's nuts.
I don't care if you're transgender.
I don't understand.
Go for it. I'm not marrying a transgender.
Let them go play their sports.
Let them live and let live. Absolutely.
Live and let live. You people contradict yourselves so much.
That's their superiority.
Absurd. Yeah,
no, I think you're just stupid because
right
I'm explaining myself and making sense.
The explanation makes no sense.
Transgender absolutely should live and let live. They should not participate in sports. That's the boundary.
So she's contradicting herself on every single stop here. Transgenders should live and let live, but they shouldn't participate in female sports. So which is it? See, this is the thing with her, you know. You should, I'm not a feminist, but I want to be a boss babe. Okay, you see what I'm trying to say? I want to have kids and I want to have a husband, but I'm not going to cook and clean. I'm going to hire a maid for that. You realize what she's saying? Are you getting where I'm going here? It makes no sense. It's not even logical what she's saying. Not logical.
Let Stasia talk. Stasia, you wanted to say something?
You're just all walking contradictions. It's crazy that you can even say something like that. You guys are all fighting with each other about live and let live, and we're having an entire conversation about trans people and their ability or lack of ability to be in sports. So it's wild to watch him with the cigarette, like think he's all pompous, and you over there acting like it's just ridiculous.
Hey, I'm the only one here who is consistent. I said I don't care if you people go in and beat the tar out of women. I don't care. Go do it. They voted for it. I think they need a taste of their own medicine. I think it's good for them. And maybe some of this madness will stop if they actually have to take accountability and deal with the consequences of their own voting.
Now, I have to stop him there. I don't completely agree with Andrew on this. I do understand what Andrew is saying as far as the consequences of what women vote in, right? But here's the problem. When you're talking about sports and transgenders in sports, it's also including schools. And you're talking about children. So it's not fair to the girls because children don't vote. You're talking about 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. You're talking about high school kids, you're talking about junior high kids that are working really hard. These females in junior high, high school, middle school even. And that's not fair. So we do have to as a community, as Americans, fight for the rights of our children. So I don't agree that, a child should be severely hurt or get concussed or have a concussion or anything could happen or die even because a male dressed who as a female or somebody that identifies as a female whacked her in the head, with a soccer ball during, a game, a match, whatever. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't agree there. I don't agree. I think there's a better way to teach women lessons. And that is to revoke their voting rights.
Own voting.
You're actually insane. You're in.
I want to make it very clear. I don't care that you're transgender. I genuinely don't care if today you're a woman, tomorrow you're a man, the next day you want to identify as a cat or a dog. I really don't. It's not my issue. But when you make it my issue, when you want to play in my sport, I was a tennis player my whole life. If a man came along who identified as a woman, who I will respect as a woman, I will respect your pronouns, but you want to now eradicate women's sports, now it's my problem too. As long as it's not my problem and you go do you, live exactly. Thank you.
Just live and let live, man. We'll just be hippies and
okay, let me ask. I want to end by asking Julie.
You can't live and let live. That's the point. Because you can't have your cake and eat it too. It doesn't work both ways. You can't have it all. That's how we started this. Megyn Kelly and Matt Walsh from the Daily Wire are in an argument because Matt Walsh is saying that you cannot have a career, can't be a boss babe with a career, ruling over all these minions and everything, okay? All right? Whether you're owned by Fox News, not owned by Fox News, that's career. You can't have a career and properly be present for your family. And Megyn is saying you can have it all. You can have it all, but you can't. Live and let live, you can't. You have to make choices. That's what adults do. They adult.
Okay, I want to end by asking Julie, because Julie, you've been talking about feminism for decades. We're now in a strange place, I think, where women have more freedom to do all the things that maybe previous generations of women did not have freedom to do. And many, including me, actually think that's a very good step forward. The only downside to this is that birth rates around the world are beginning to plummet to dangerously low levels. And Elon Musk keeps warning that if they carry on like this, it's going to be a very, very serious problem for the future of the planet. So let me just ask you, Julie, when you look at the progress that feminism has made, you can see so many ways that women's rights have been promoted in a better way. But are you concerned about the dropping birth rates and the fact that women no longer, because so many more are going out to work and everything else and prioritizing work perhaps over family, that birth rates ultimately are obviously going to reduce, and that ultimately that could be a very self-defeating thing for the planet?
We need to pay attention to the fact that many women, when they have children, have no support, no childcare, feckless fathers who leave if they're there in the first place, where there is very little maternity leave, hardly any financial security, particularly if that woman is in an abusive relationship and can't rely on that second wage coming into the home. So have a look at what will make it more attractive and feasible for women to have babies, and also have a look at the women who are choosing not to have babies because they don't want to be hitched to and trapped with a man who, quite frankly, isn't the love of her life because of his behaviour and because of his shortcomings. That's what we need to be doing.
Okay.
Actually, let me just chime in here. I mean, what is she talking about? Let's be realistic here. You don't have to get pregnant, love. You can keep your legs closed. It's not, you don't have to be a single mother. And most single mothers are single mothers because they chose to be, because they either filed for divorce, okay, after making a choice to marry somebody that they didn't revere or fawn after, okay? They didn't admire. They married somebody for other reasons, like, I need security, I need money, I want a big house, I want a ring, I want a fairy tale wedding, I want to be a princess, okay? These are not reasons to get married, okay? And then you have others who just spread those legs, okay? In reality, marriage is a holy sacrament. We're not even supposed to be having sex before marriage, but let's be real here. We are in modern times. This is why I say, you can't be a drag con. Are you a virgin? Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye. Okay, you're done. Amish aren't even going to accept you. So, bye-bye. It's over. Seriously. Women make choices. Then they want to cry about it later. You opened your legs, you got pregnant, you had sex outside of the eyes of God, or whatever you want to say, and you were not in a committed relationship, so now you're a single mother. There you go. So we're supposed to suffer we're supposed to make choices because of them? No, it's their problem. Get it? You made your bed, sleep in it.
See, I want to ask you a final question. Emily, I'll come to you and Andrew for final word in a minute. But Stacey, it just struck me as a question I wanted to ask you. How do you feel about drug cheats in sport? When people are caught doping to enhance their performance, how do you feel about that?
Obviously, you know how I feel about that. You're baiting me to twist this around on the trans issue. And
I've no idea how you feel about it. I've never asked you. I've never asked you before. How do you feel about it?
Obviously, I'm not in support of people taking drug enhancements to do better in sports.
But why? Why are you not in support of that, given it just gives them an unfair advantage, which you want for trans athletes? What's the difference?
I see exactly what they're trying to do, and I'm not walking into it. It's very clear where my stance is with trans people. I don't support. I just think that you're trying to walk me into something, and it's not going to work for me.
It's not going to work because you are realizing right now, because she's whatever it is, it's not stupid. That's the thing. None of these transgender people are dumb. They know that what they're saying is absolutely ridiculous. Does that make sense? They know it's ridiculous. She knows that she can't answer the question because the question, the correct answer without her looking crazy is, well, I don't believe in drugs to enhance my ability in a sport, which therefore would mean that I also don't believe in males, biological males, being in a sport with women. Hello? What are we talking about? When women in sports are drugging themselves, are they giving themselves more estrogen? Are they giving themselves drugs to be more like a woman or more like a man? To have more masculine abilities, to run faster, to build more muscle, to be stronger, to outdo the next chick. That's how that works. That's why this whole debate is ridiculous. It doesn't make sense, but that's where we've gotten in this country, where common sense is literally just out the window. And how did we get here? Government's raising our children. People have infiltrated the school system. And the school system is ran by woke left ideologies. Call it whatever you want. That's it.
So you don't support
great argument.
the
now, I want to add a
enhancement
point.
of performance through illegal drugs. Okay. That's good. We're halfway there, I think. Emily.
Yeah.
Pierce, I just want to bring up a point that, and personally, I don't know the stats. I'd be very curious into looking into it, but I think it would be remiss to not mention the fact that many, many women, personally I know a bunch, but I want to see the stats on it, are trying to have kids that are doing rounds of IVF, spending all of their money that they've saved up trying to have a kid, are infertile, are having miscarriages, never got their period. I think we also have a really serious health crisis going on, at least in the United States. I can't speak about the UK, that Bobby Kennedy is very well aware of, about hormones and the foods that are making it a lot harder for women to have children, because I know many, many women who would love to have a big, beautiful family, but can't even conceive their first child. So I don't.
Yeah, because they're fat and out of shape and unhealthy. Okay? The Food and Drug Administration, I mean, really? This is what we're going to do? No, you don't have to eat McDonald's. Okay, stop with this whole thing that everybody's sick because the FDA is making us sick. No, you chose to eat McDonald's. You chose to go in the grocery store and get Captain Crunch. Okay? Because you're addicted to sugar. All right? If you're a fat girl, you shouldn't be having kids because it's pushing all your organs together and the baby is suffocating. What do you expect? My God, I mean, we are literally in a delusional space. Do you know that there are women in New York City that go to the ER that are obese and they're sick and they don't know what's wrong with them and they're literally in labor and never even knew they were pregnant? Yeah, I mean, this is where we've gotten. It's nuts. It is literally nuts. What is she talking about? Oh my God. And by the way, I don't believe in any of this IVF or any of this crap. God made us. Okay? If having children was so important to you, you would have made sure to eat healthy and exercise and be the best capsule for that child to be in that you could, because that's all you care about. Now, unfortunately, life isn't fair. And you know what? There are some people that have done that and just can't have kids. And you know what? Maybe they're just not supposed to. Maybe they're just not supposed to. You understand what I'm saying here? But the whole industry of in vitro fertilization is nuts. It's all about the money. Look at the stats. How many times it takes, how much these women are spending. It is ludicrous. It's an industry and it's a way to make money. That's it. And all you're doing is supporting Big Pharma. That's it. That's it. How can you be a conservative and pro in vitro fertilization? And how can you be against Big Pharma and all the things that they're doing and all the chemicals? But then you're going to go, and oh, my husband's got, honey, you got to get 3 jobs now. Hurry up. I got to hurry up. I'm 40. I got to get pregnant. Hurry up. Everybody else is having kids around me. I got to be a trad con. I mean, this is ludicrous. This is so ridiculous. And it's so unfair to the kids. I don't
know if it's necessarily everyone making a decision to not have kids, rather a health problem. And I'd advise everyone to look into that too.
It's totally absurd. So, first of all, the reason they need IVF and things like this because they defer families till they're in their 30s, right? It's not healthy for women to start having babies in their 30s.
No,
not a great idea.
Yes.
True. Yeah. Not only is it true,
I have a 24-year-old friend who can't get pregnant.
I can statistically prove it. The exception doesn't make the rule. The truth of the matter is, you can even look at infant mortality rates, and in the United States, we have some of the highest in the world, and that is correlated directly to the fact that women are aged out of their 20s when they're having children. You can even see this in other nations as well. Back over to the TERF's argument, she says, well, wait a second, we should really be deferring to women and incentivizing women for more stuff that women want. We do this all the time. We defer to everything that is that they want. By the way, you have free tuition. You do get all sorts of free health care. And by the way, it's the poor people who have the most amount of children, not the middle class or the rich who do family planning. So this idea that you're just going to give, the idea that you're just going to give women money and that's going, or some type of support in this way, and that's going to be what moves them towards children, is not true. Usually it's things like religion, religiosity, your key component to traditionalism, your idea of community has nothing to do with family leave. It has nothing to do with that. Never has the birth rate's been dropping like this, like a rock, especially since the 1900s, right? But even in the 1800s. But now, since birth control especially, and women's liberation, the sexual revolution, it has dropped so drastically, we can't even reproduce the population. These aren't answers. You're not answering any problems. None.
And you know what? Emily, the blonde covert feminist, okay, she said, I have a friend that's 24 that can't get pregnant. Yeah, and she's probably been on birth control since she was 12. I mean, it's shocking to me. I have never taken birth control, okay, ever, and I never would. Why are you taking birth? If you don't want to get pregnant, just don't get pregnant. Okay, and you get what I'm trying to say here? I mean, it's pretty simple. The math is simple, okay? Now, 24-year-olds that can't get pregnant, that are full of hormones that they've taken since they were like literally 12, right? You get your period, or 9, 10, 12, whatever, and it's like, oh, get her on birth control. And this is mothers doing this. How many fathers do you think in the house, okay, are taking their daughters to the doctor and saying, can you give her birth control? I mean, does that even sound right? Do you even think that's realistic, what I'm saying? It's women that push these things. And it's feminism that pushed birth control and abortion to begin with. Margaret Sanger, Hillary Clinton's hero. I mean, come on. Common sense, people. I don't know how she's going to even continue on. This Emily chick, how do you continue? You literally have no future right now. He just destroyed. You want to talk about cancel culture? She's canceled. Okay, no doubt about it.
It's just because of men like you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's because of men like me. I know. It's men like me. The ones who actually reproduce. It's because of men like me who actually reproduce. I get it. That makes sense.
So what do you suggest? Should women just start like walking around?
Can you reproduce? Do you even have a uterus to reproduce? Do you even have a uterus to reproduce? But anyway, what were you saying? I'm sorry.
No, I just don't understand. What do you think is the solution? Women should just like kind of settle in their young 20s and just start popping out babies, even if they haven't necessarily met someone that's compatible for them yet, or vice versa?
antinatalist language, popping out babies. Oh, they're slave to the stove, popping out babies. No, I think that from a societal view,
I don't do the language.
We can have
I've got to go. I'm really late. I've got to go. Sorry.
You know what, Julie? Everyone's going to go because we've reached the end of the panel. The only sadness for me is we can't all go and have a drink together.
Okay, there's no sadness for Piers Morgan here, okay? His clicks are clicking. Those views are up there. You know what is funny watching Piers? Because you ever watch his faces? He absolutely lives for this. He lives for this, and he's great at it, okay? But the thing is that I don't even know if Piers would have a show if we didn't have so many covert feminists, so many infiltrators, okay? Because it's getting ridiculous. It's like, it's like, wait, does he even bring on, is there even a female in the space that really isn't a feminist underneath it all? Seriously. Is there? Maybe Pearl's been on there, but like, who has really been on here that isn't living a feminist life? Who? Name me a feminist on Piers Morgan that isn't a career woman with kids. I mean, come on. You even have this one, Emily, who is, thriving to be that. She's sitting here on a podcast basically telling us that she can't wait to get a job on Fox News. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, we have to stop letting these people infiltrate these ideologies. This is what they did in the school system. They infiltrated our schools and then brainwashed the kids, and now look what we're dealing with. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget, let me know in the comments if you think Megyn Kelly is a covert feminist or not. I promise to respond. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'm Debrava. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.